Mara, former Prime Minister of Mali, it's
Very,
wonderful to see you again.
Very glad to know you, to see you again, David. Very
Wonderful
glad
to see you, and I'm interested to hear from you in the last year, since we last met. Tell me about the problems of West Africa, of your part of Africa.
Yes.
I'm keen to also hear from you your suggested solutions to those problems, but for people to understand the interrelated nature of the problems that countries in your part of Africa are facing.
You are right. West Africa is 15 countries among the 54 of Africa.
Yes, indeed.
This is first. And West Africa is composed by two different areas. The country, we have coast,
yes,
close to sea, open to the sea, and the country, the landlocked countries. And the landlocked country represents what we call the Sahel region.
Yes.
Sahel. This is the poorest countries. Among them there is my country, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, and these countries face a lot of difficulties. The first is the impact of climate.
Yes.
These are countries with a huge part of desert. Maybe 60% of our territories are covered by desert.
And the desert is growing.
The desert is growing.
Yes.
The desert is progressing to the south, and that creates a lot of damages for us.
To agriculture.
To agriculture, to access to water.
Yes.
And for farming, for cattle breeding, and we have a lot of cattle breeders. And this loss of food for animals creates a shock between agricultures, farmers, and cattle breeders. And these shocks is one of the pillars of the terrorism issue in the Sahelian region. That's why terrorism issue is linked to climate change impacts.
Isn't that interesting?
It is really, really linked directly. Mali, for example, has lost 60% of its forests the last 30 years, 60%. The Lake Chad, which is one of the biggest lakes in Africa, has lost around of 80% of its water the last 40 years.
This is a huge
It's
change
really
in one
huge.
generation.
And a lot of millions of people
Yes.
live around this lake.
Yes.
From this lake, there are fishers, they use the water for farming, and that shocks the lives of people. This is the first thing we have to notice in West Africa, in the Sahelian region. Climate change, real concern, real damages.
Yes.
First. The second is demography.
Yes.
The average age in Sahel is 17.
So this is a region of children.
And this is a region of children. It is not a region of young, it is a region of children.
Yes.
Average age is 17, and the people under 35 represent 75% of people.
That's incredible. So
It's
very
really
young
incredible.
population, and a young population.
And the young
enormous
population,
pressure.
and the young population is growing.
Yes.
Is growing.
Yes.
And if you combine demography and urbanization, people moving from the rural zone to the cities, you will face to another danger. We have one of the biggest growing cities around the world in this region.
Yes.
Bamako, our capital city, grow by 8% a year. 8%. That means half of million people, half of million people every year.
Yes.
And this is unbelievable. And it is unbearable for the state. It is not manageable. And we have to deal with this issue. Demography versus urbanization. This is the second. The third is the weaknesses of the state.
Yes.
We have states which are not able to provide security, for sure, education, health system, even judiciaries, institutional, a lot of weaknesses. And the people are forced to count on themselves,
Yes.
to educate their children, to give them food, to cure them. People are forced to count on themselves, not to count on the state, because the state has no means, the state is not solid, the state is really, really weak.
Yes.
Third issue is the state weaknesses. We have these three main pillars. The one other pillar is the economical way. We are not in the value chains, economical value chains around the world.
So you're not integrated.
We are not integrated. We are nowhere.
Yes.
If you go to international economical organization meeting, they do not talk about Africa.
Yes.
Only based on terrorism issue, demographic issue, and things like that. Not economic, not industries, not development.
Yes.
And this pillar also is very important. We have to find a way to integrate Africa in the value chain, international value chain, in order to share economical growth and to get one part of the economical growth. If the economical growth is only shared between developed countries, the poorest one will suffer, and it will drive to frustration, to migration, to terrorism, and other issues.
Yes.
And no country is safe from that.
Yes, of course.
No border can stop migrants. No policy can stop migrants, because they are striving for their life. If someone is struggling to save his life, you cannot stop him.
Absolutely.
No policy can stop that. And I think we have to notice these issues and to say African concern, African problem is a global problem.
Absolutely.
And how we can find a way to help, to accompany. Africa has to make efforts. We have to make efforts. We have to modernize our economy, we have to change our governance, we have to renew our leadership, for sure, but it will not be enough.
So these are the governance challenges that
Yes.
leaders such as yourself have
I am
to
absolutely
improve governance. From an international perspective, what are the opportunities to link West Africa and these countries that, as you say, are not really connected to the international economy? What are the opportunities to build stronger links, supply chains that could foster new industries and employ some of these young people, so there could be a benefit to both sides?
Yes, a mutual benefit.
What are the opportunities there? There must be opportunities in mining and other areas.
Yes, if I take the example of my own country, Mali, we are the third gold producers in Africa. We host a lot of gold mines and owned by Australian, Canadian, South African, and others. But at the same time, we have not enough refineries. We have only to move the gold and to send it outside.
So you need some processing.
We
some
need
industry.
the processing.
Yes.
We need the processing industries in order to keep
Yes.
one part of the value chain
Sure.
of the gold industry. We are a huge producer of lithium,
Yes, that's important.
and we are starting, and we work with Chinese in that. And we need also to keep as much as possible of the value chain inside. And we need the investor to do that. Not only to take our country as a field, come, take the raw material and go. No. We have to share values, we have to share incomes. And we need the investor who are at the same time concerned by social issues, not only making money, making money and go. No, we have to be concerned on the social issue to say, okay, I can do that, but if I do on the other way, I can make money, perhaps less money than expected, but I can make more people happy inside, more stability inside,
stability, yes,
and
more
sustainable development inside. Yes. And on the strategical way, it is maybe better, even economically, to invest in the stability in order to stay present in the country. I can give you the example in what is happening in our country. We have militaries.
Yes.
They are in the power. They are in the power because of the weaknesses of the states.
Yes.
And they come to the power and they are threatening investors. And they put some people in jail in order to get money.
Yes.
This is a sort of stealing money. Yes. They are stealing money and they are forcing people.
Sure.
Maybe it would be positive for the investor to more invest in the social issue, to strengthen the states in order to avoid a coup d'etat and the military junta, and maybe they would be free today if they would have done that. Yes. in the past.
And you've suggested ideas that are complementary to this, like the idea of a Marshall Plan type support.
Absolutely, and we wrote this article together.
Yes.
And it is absolutely mandatory to take that into account. The Sahelian region in West Africa and maybe the whole Africa needs a Marshall Plan, like what was done in 1945 for Europe after the Second World War. We need a Marshall Plan to strengthen and enhance the pillar of our countries, states, economy, agriculture, financial system, and to make us a valuable player.
And you would do that on a regional basis, bringing in...
We have to do that on a regional basis. For me, the countries are too timid to work alone, or to be helped alone. We have to gather countries, because African countries are so divided. This is a colonial legacy.
Yes.
We have to overcome the colonial legacy and the colonial division, to put African countries together. And we can do that regionally. To put 15 countries together in the West African area. That means 400 million people.
Yes, very significant.
Yes, it is very significant. And that means around of maybe $1 trillion as GDP. This is important.
Yes.
Instead of country with only $23 billion as GDP, 30 or 70. If we are together 1 trillion, 400 million, that is significant.
But if you could have a strategy that could turn that 1 trillion economy into a 5 trillion economy over time.
Good. It will be easier to do that.
Address all of these issues,
for sure.
The security and the state building and the climate change impacts.
For sure, and we need to work on that. This is something very huge, and that's why I talk about Marshall Plan.
Yes.
It is not only to give some $100 million to some sectors to help economically here. No, it is to push.
Yes.
a real mass
Yes.
of people and mass of countries. And it is possible. It is possible. For me, it is possible.
So it's not about aid, it's about a transformation.
It is not about aid, it is about transport.
Yes.
If you look at these countries, all of them are enough resources. Raw materials, natural resources, water,
Yes.
solar,
Yes.
they need to be helped a lot and to create a shock
Yes.
in order to wake up,
Yes.
to stand and to run. I think this is a sort of collaboration. We need collaboration, we need partnership. And it is possible.
Well, it's a very, very important proposal that you're
Sure.
making, and I wish you all the very best with it.
Thank
and,
you, David.
I really think this is very important work.
Thank
that
you
you're
very
doing.
much.
Good luck to you and all of the people
Thank
in
you,
your
thank
country.
you. We'll do. We'll make it.
We will. We will.
Thank you.